Yo guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. So as promised, I was going to test Callisto Protocol, which is totally available for free on Epic Game Store. I will put a link in this video description as well as a pinned comment on where to download the game, and it'll be free up until August 29th on PC at the Epic Game Store. Okay, so firstly, as always, I'm going to show you the graphics settings really quickly. So we are running an Asus Strix RTX 4090 graphics card with a pretty significant core overclock. And as for the graphics preset, it's custom, and we're going to go through all the graphics settings in this video. So we're running a render resolution of 3040 by 2160 on my 4K 144Hz display. We're running HDR 10. Now sometimes this game has some issues with HDR not displaying properly on YouTube, but I'm going to try it out again just for the heck of it. If it doesn't work out well, then I'll just keep it off. We have a max brightness of 800 nits. It's normally I have it at 1000, but I lowered it because sometimes it looks overly bright. As for the lighting effects, everything is the high preset, which is highest possible setting it goes to. Physical refractions are enabled. Ray trace shadows, ray trace reflections are at the high setting, and ray trace transmission, whatever that means, is enabled. As for the effects, depth of field and motion blur is enabled. I think this game does look good with motion blur, like the fan blades when they're spinning. It actually looks better, I think, with motion blur. Just my personal preference. For anti-aliasing, we're using temporal AA, and film grain is turned off. As for the advanced graphics settings, we're not using any upscaling. Now, one thing I want to mention is in my Intel video that I recently played this game with, I accidentally had FSR on. So you can't really go back into that video and compare because I had an FSR enabled, and I didn't realize that until after I made the video. So just keep that in mind. So disregard the last video I made of Callisto Protocol if you want to compare frames per second. Unfortunately, I didn't have the same settings that I do currently now. Mesh quality set to high, highest possible setting. Texture quality high, and texture filter quality is also high with 100% render scaling. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and run the benchmark. We're going to do 4K native, 1440p, and also 1080p. So we're going to see how it runs. Enjoy the show. I will mention when I switch resolutions, and I will commentate anything I think it's worth mentioning. But enjoy, yes. Oh, I also wanted to say thank you to one user on YouTube who had mentioned to me how to toggle the game bar by pushing Windows key and G and actually allowing games to be enabled with the game bar properly. So do thank you for that. I do see the CPU clock speed still maintaining over the clock speed you mentioned is above the threshold of the CCD chips, but for some reason I already did adjust it in this game, so I'm not sure why it's still clocking above 5300 megahertz. Okay, so rendered 8,176 frames in 44.3 seconds, average frame rate of 184.48. Recommendation, enable FSR2, and no, I'm not going to do that. Okay, so next we will go to 1440p native resolution. Let me pull up the display options here. 2560 by 1440p. Apply. Give me 1 second as my monitor responds here. I don't really have control of it. Okay, so now we're set. And let me just make sure that we're not using any upscaling, and we'll go to run the benchmark. Seems like to be a quick little benchmark. It doesn't seem very long or detailed, so that's kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is, I guess. I guess that's why we could test the gameplay as well. And again, the CPU, it's still clocking above that threshold that you mentioned. Is I think you said 5,000 to 5,200 megahertz is the highest it should go with the CCDs. But like I said, I already said it, so I'm not sure why it's still clocking so high. I don't really understand why, but I did toggle this game as a game and game bar, like you mentioned. But I don't know what's up with that. Either way, the performance is great. I mean, look at the frames per second, so I'm not complaining. 4090 is not really being utilized at 1440p though. Okay, so rendered 9,722 frames in 44.3 seconds, average frame rate of 219.36. Again, it's recommending enable FSR2, which hell no, you're not going to do it at 1440p. Okay, so next let's go to 1080p resolution. So 1920 by 1080p. Apply. And again, give me 1 second for my monitor to respond here. Run benchmark. Now the GPU utilization is going to be like halfway, probably. Maybe not. Frame per second are impressive though, at least in some areas. GPU is chilling between 3075 and 3090. Nice healthy overclock. With about 63% GPU utilization. Okay, very good. So benchmark rendered 9,706 frames in 44.3 seconds. Average frame rate of 219. Recommendation. That recommendation is BS, man. There's no reason to turn on FSR for the resolution. Okay, so next let's go to 4K native, and then we'll go ahead and test out the gameplay footage of this title. And I will put timestamps in the video in terms of where the benchmark is and where the actual gameplay benchmark is. That way you guys could cycle through what parts of the video you want to see. So we're going to go ahead and continue a game here. I'm going to switch over to my Xbox One controller because it seems to work well third-person games. And again, the HDR, hopefully it's not going to be screwed up, but in this title, for some reason on YouTube, it doesn't really display properly, so I'm not really exactly sure what's up with that, but we'll see what happens. But enjoy the show, guys. Look at the volumetric fog and the lighting and the slightly ray trace reflections here. It's just such a beautiful game. And the fact that this is totally free right now is just like astounding. Do definitely check out this game. I do recommend playing it. Back to where I was. Do you recommend checking out the game at Epic Game Store? Like I said, I will link the link to where to get the game at the Epic Game Store, and do check it out. It's an awesome game. It runs a lot better than it did at launch, and the immersion levels are awesome. So I'm going to stay quiet. You guys enjoy. And then when we change resolutions, I will be talking to mention you that I'm going to change resolutions. Just look at those lighting effects. I mean, it's like astounding with the volumetric steam or fog. It's awesome. Smoke. Love the ambience. Well, it looks like 4K native ranges anywhere from 98 and upwards of 116 to 120 frames per second. Very smooth gameplay, no stutters. Definitely doesn't run as bad as Dead Space Remake, which I recently did play. And it was unfortunately still playing with stutters. But this game also had stutters at launch, but it runs a whole lot better than it did at launch now. And it runs hell of a good on this Ryzen setup. And again, I want to mention, don't compare this video to my Intel i9 video, because on that video I was running FSR and I didn't realize it, so I probably scored higher with the Intel because I had FSR on, so just keep that in mind. Okay, so next let's go to 1440p resolution. Apply. Give me 1 second for my monitor to respond here. Okay, and we'll see how 1440p runs at native resolution, and enjoy the show, guys. I'll be quiet. Enjoy the immersive experience.
playing tight?
What are those?
Creepy ass monsters are what they are. Well, it looks like 1440p seems to be staying between 150 and 160 or 170 or 180 frames per second, depending on the scene. But very smooth gameplay again. The frame stutter are not there at all, no longer present. And that frame timing graph is just smooth sailing as can be. Very impressive. Gift and visuals, the Unreal Engine 5 based title. All the effects, ray tracing, volumetric fog, everything is... Oh, one stutter there. Probably traversal stutter. I'm not gonna complain about that. I mean, that was traversal, so it's just loading other parts of the map. So, no worries there. Nothing like Dead Space Remake, which was just like running horribly. Absolutely just terrible. It's a horrible experience. Okay, so now let's go down to 1080p resolution. So we'll do 1920 by 1080p. Apply. Again, give me 1 second for our monitor to respond here. And we'll see how it runs. Enjoy the show, guys. One little frame stutter there again, but could be traversal stutter. And also I just changed the resolution, so that probably affects things too as well. Big boy. Should have snuck up on him and then just killed him. That would have been a lot easier than losing health. Seems to be lower frames per second around here. I'm not sure if it's because of the scene or what. It's a little bit lower. The gruesomeness, the flesh, and the sounds of the meat just being pummeled is just so brutal and detailed. Definitely worth checking out this game for sure, like I said. Especially when it's free. I mean, right now, before it was free, it was actually still $60 on the Epic Game Store, so I was imagining that at some point in time Epic Game Store would release this for free, but I thought they'd probably do it around Christmas time. I wouldn't think they would just do it randomly here during this time of the year. So that was a nice surprise. Definitely well welcomed. Looks like 1080p actually runs a little bit lower frames per second than 1440p from what I'm seeing. I'm not sure it's because it's just where I'm at, but maybe if maybe you're better off running at 1440p if you're on a 4090 and you just want to still have decent resolution while maintaining good frames per second. Probably just stick with 1440p, I'd say. I prefer 4K native because that's my monitor's native resolution, and everything just looks so clear and crisp at 4K, and it's just the whole reason why I even buy the 4090 is so I could game at 4K. So, but until then, I hope you guys enjoyed this video presentation. Happy Friday to everybody. If you did like the video, do give this video a like. If you want to see more content like this, more 4090 game videos, and more AMD Ryzen 9 7950X 3D gaming benchmarks, feel free to subscribe. So thanks for watching, appreciate all support, enjoy your weekend, again happy Friday, and do check out this game, the Epic Game Store, totally free. I will link it in the video description as well as a pinned comment. Thanks for watching, appreciate all support, enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you guys for another video presentation soon enough. That brings you Callisto Protocol on PC, overclocked Asus Strix RTX 4090 graphics card, and AMD Ryzen 9 7950X 3D. Thanks for watching guys, peace out.